Since the Netherbrain fell, you and Astarion have seen more of Faerun than you ever thought possible. One night, he tells you that these last 6 months of happy memories are the counterweight to 200 years of misery. The next day, you receive an invitation written in a frail hand, inviting you to a gathering back in the place where your journey together began. A chance to meet with the friends and allies who were by your side in the battle against the Absolute.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Material plane.
There you are.
What's life?
Keeping us all on tenterhooks so you could make it around.
Scratch yaps a request you know well.
I'm glad for it. For this.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way over. There you are, my friend. Breathe deep. Can you smell it?
You take in every scent the night breeze carries. Sweet honeysuckle, tender violets, and an earthy fragrance you can't quite recognize.
Forest trees draped in moss. Bittersweet, smoky, and that faintest hint of vanilla. A far cry from the rancid Avernus heat that's been clogging my lungs. I swear, Karlach and I have felled enough cambions to build a fortress with their horns. Who'd have thought that just one of those fiends held the key to escaping Avernus for good? One of them sported a map and some blueprints. If you want all the gory details, Karlach can fill you in. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but he's teaching the fist a new lesson. I think the splinters I made out of the last bone devil I saw speak for themselves. Not to pat myself too hard on the back, but I'm not such a bad ranger if I do say so myself. Well, that's enough hell talk for the moment. The night's young. You shouldn't go wasting it. Or wasting any of the wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oh, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen. Good sound, good company.
And how have our friends fared without us? I'm glad. It would be so easy to go through everything we did and come out the other side bitter and twisted. But they deserve happiness. We all do. And I will forever be grateful to have found it with you. I do feel a little bad keeping you all to myself. After all, I get to see you every night. Go on, go mingle. Enjoy your time with the others. Bless them with your presence. I'll be here when you're ready. I'll always be here, my love.
Cheers to you.
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. I suppose I do, don't I? I'm glad you seem well. Truly. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. Peace and quiet will still be there waiting once I've lived a little. Though, don't get me wrong, I've got a little cottage with a garden and animals in mind already. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. But enough about me. What have you been up to? Do you ever rest? think of all those poor, budding adventurers looking to make a name for themselves. Take some time off and give them a chance, why don't you? Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. He wasn't kidding. Withers, you mad bastard! You brought me back! Soldier. It's really you. I've missed you, man. Like, I've really missed you. And you're so clean. I'd say so. Can't think of who's been carrying your pack now that Kay's out of commission. Man, we had some good times. Wish Wyll and I had more time to reminisce, but surviving Avernus is just non-stop. Still, having him there has been incredible. You really can get through anything with someone you love at your side. Oh, but hey, guess what we found? Cambion dropped a map with directions and blueprints for Zariel's own private forge. A fucking forge! Our current plan is to get in, grab a smith, and force him to fix old Rusty. Or maybe give me a brand new model that can live outside of Avernus. You haven't seen the last of old Karlach yet, soldier. Every time. I won't be in Avernus forever, you know. Can I look you up when I'm out? Hey, that would be kind of fun, though. High stakes hide and seek. Honestly, I'd be curious to see if you could land a blow or two. Gods, is it good to see you again. To be here together. Hard not to get used to it all over again. This won't be the last time. I promise.
The day I prayed him. Light and Tressem's a cat.
Old friend. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head.
Limbo, she'd said. A plane of chaos where you might drink fire like water, where you might breathe ice instead of air. And the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one of the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed them.
I do. I approach the gates of Shraktalor even now.
Shraktalor. How well you know the name. The capital city of the Githzerai, and the home of their immortal god king, Zerith Menyar Agith.
Algish sent word of the rebellion to Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. Soon, when the comet has risen, when the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust. I miss this place. More to the point, I missed you. I'll be back one day. The Overgod himself couldn't keep me away.
Withers has laid out quite a spread of food, for one comprising mostly of bone. Perhaps he wishes to live vicariously through the attendees' appetites. You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. We have all pined for each other's company, I sense. I cannot imagine otherwise after what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. Apologies. You can probably understand my eagerness. I shall be as gentle as a feather next time. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. Please, spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later.
My dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Oh, I wouldn't bother you with such things during a party. And anyway, I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Oh, that would be telling, wouldn't it? But believe you me, my friend, not a word could have been written without you. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft, and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
And don't you forget it.
Aha!
Well, there he is. Gale in all his glory. I hope you're happy, the god of ambition. Have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? Ambition, aspiration, greed and hubris is all I hear. The Gale I knew wasn't like this. He recognized his mistakes. He was contrite. All he wanted to do was live. Unfortunately, he fell into company that turned his gaze toward foolishness. Yes, I mean you. And you're just as mad as he. I know there's nothing you could have done to stop him. Not really. Once he'd decided to learn nothing from his mistakes, what use were either of our protests? Perhaps you'd be willing to come meet Gale's mother sometime? She misses him so. And I know it would do her heart a world of good to discuss her son with someone who knew him as he was. Jolly good. I'll tell Mrs. Dekarios to be expecting you. Oh, she'll be delighted. Things just haven't been the same without himself cluttering up the place. Enjoy your party, dear. I've heard you quite deserve a celebration.
Goodness. Was Faerun always so dull? Still, at least the company was worth the trip, if not the view. Not to be overly pedantic, but they are my powers now. I imagine you're wondering how all this came to be. The finer points of divine ascension are beyond mortal comprehension, I'm afraid, but I can provide a route. First, I retrieved the crown of Karsus and reforged it using a series of precise and highly complex Netherese incantations. Then, I used it. As you know, the orb within me was the half-formed Karsite Weaver. Magic left incomplete by Karsus' self-destruction. I finished it. Using the Crown of Karsus, I turned it into a new form of magic, fused with my being, driven by my purpose. And then I put it to work. As expected, Mystra was unwilling to hand over the reins of the Weave, so I've claimed dominion over another area which I've passing familiarity. Ambition. I don't recall saying that I'd given up. I confess, I expected Raphael to come knocking with that infernal contract we signed. But, strangely enough, he never showed his face. Intimidated, no doubt. I can say this much for now. Mystra is welcome to her dominion. My aims are set a little higher than offering cursory blessings to just any half-decent spellcaster. I exist, not to bestow favors on my followers, but to inspire them to seize their destinies for themselves, exactly as I did. I'm their proof. Proof their hopes are not barren wastes, but the loamy soil in which their future achievements will flourish. Proof that with ambition, anything is possible. Ao would prefer to let the cosmic dust settle from my unexpected ascension before considering my right to grant my followers such power. I'm sure it'll come around in a millennium or so. And by then, my creed will be something to reckon with. There are already several shrines in my honor scattered across the outer reaches of Thay, and rumors of a very prominent temple under construction in Arm. This is only the beginning. I thought you would be. Now, divine as my company undoubtedly is, I have an eternity to catch up with you. A luxury few others at this party possess. Don't let me deprive them of your company, or mine, for that matter. It's not every day a newborn god shows up to the reunion. The material plane. It's quite something, isn't it? To be in the presence of the divine. Fear not. That tingling sensation is merely your body's way of alerting you to my presence. It's perfectly harmless. In small doses.
We must be careful to not overindulge tonight, lest I lose control and slip into bear form.
Wish I'd had time to polish up the forms.
We are not dreaming. It is our old friend. Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsk began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsk to cover. Minsk and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsk and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsk still has his fists, no? In ample time indeed. So long as the Bone Mage returns us to our cell by dawn, Boo would not be late to the bloodshed. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore the sticky tyrant from the sky? Aha, the lovebirds still nest together then? Minsk is glad. For what is life without a companion? Though I am thinking yours does not sit on your shoulders, eh? Ah, you are right, Boo. That is, none of Minsk's business. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsk shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Oh, forgive me. I am simply excitable. It is good to be out under an open sky once more. My first, since the reconstruction began. We left quite a mess behind. But the city begins to look something like itself once more. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers. Same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon. Same cisterns overflowing, huh? I knew an Everescan Greycloak who would say, Baldur's Gate will be the death of me. But I can't say it doesn't hold all of life. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work, but they have chosen it for themselves. There is still much to do. People to house, a Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Look at this place. At us. This is the best party I've ever been to.
Clippers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? Oh, I remember one.
Look at this place.
Some fish heads and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
You know? You're bloody right. It is an honor. Finally! The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture. What can I do you for? Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want? Fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
Living gods, I need it.
Oh, I could eat a beholder. What's cooking?
Perhaps the bard knows some of my favorites. Unless my taste in music is too antique, of course.
Imperial domain. Almost forgotten what it's like.
splendid to see everyone gathered together again. If only for a night. I hope the sun does not make haste to rise on us.
Bread just to get by.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.